Why hello and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I am your host and guide, Zollin Ironshield. And today I want to give free-to-play players a little guide, a little way to plan out and mission should they plan for in a new game of RiseToWar. It can be a little more challenging as a free-to-play player in this game. I feel like the game is balanced in a way you can help, but what should you shoot for as a new player? What should you shoot for? I am on my alt account, which is not nearly as much put into it. It's only a tiny bit of work compared to my main account. What should you shoot for as a new player in RiseToWar? What kind of items? What kind of commanders? Should you pick multiple commanders? Should it pick one or two? Should you join a group? What should you do? Okay, so this game can be very fun by just literally sitting in your base all by yourself and just taking tiles and learning how to do that for a season. That's fine. I have guide videos on that too. But what should you shoot for if you want to become a little more competitive, but you still want to be free to play? You don't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the game. You maybe want to spend just a tiny bit of money and then mainly do everything working to earn stuff, okay? That's what I'm going to try to walk you through in this video right now, okay? The first thing you want to do is you want to think about what faction you want to join, okay? So I'm going to show you my map here. In this world, what faction should you aim for? Let's say you don't have a group to join. So the biggest thing is if you can find a group to join. By the way, if you ever want to join any groups that I know, you're welcome to leave a comment, and I know some Discords and stuff and things like that. But let's say you just want to join in on the game. You don't really care to do anything hardcore right off the bat. What faction would be good to pick if you don't know any groups? Okay, think Risk board game. Okay, so the first thing is think about the map. One of the main objectives of the game is usually the One Ring, depending on the game mode. There are like 3 game modes, but usually most of them still focus around Dol Guldur, okay, and getting that Ring of Power towards the end of the game. So it is important to be able to get to that as a full team if you're thinking macro, the whole entire map, right? And then we'll talk about micro with what you should be doing as a player, okay? First things first, never pick Rohan. I know it's fun, guys. Don't do it. You'll get ran over. Okay, unless there is a huge group with you in Rohan that you will get run over. I have experience of this several seasons now. I won one season with Rohan first place where we were dominating the map. We were a big faction. We had really awesome teamwork. It was really fun. It can happen, but I have played now like 13 seasons of this game since it came out. I played beta stuff. You will get run over just because it's like a risk board. The only way to pass through the border, and you have to not think of this game like, oh, good versus evil. There's one game mode that's like that, okay? The War of the Ring game mode. That's true. But a lot of people don't play that game mode as much, and you probably won't as a new player. You'll probably hop in and play, Tactician something, I can't think, Rebuilding Glory and Tactical something, Rebuilding Glory. Those are like the classic 2, and then you also have the Kingdoms game mode, okay? So if you pick that one, not so great. Isengard, same story. They just get ran over because the people need to get through the pass. So really the only places to get through on the map when you're traveling and fighting and battling is the Gap of Rohan, kind of like in the book series, right? It's very realistic. The Mines of Moria tunnels, and also the pass over the high pass, basically, over Rivendell. It's a tunnel system, kind of like where the goblins were right in the story. And you can also pass over with Cardoom, but Cardoom is usually the least used because you have to pass through 2 other factions to do it. But again, so think about positioning. Mordor, if you have enough players, it's great, okay? But usually a lot of people play Varangs, okay? A lot of people usually play Gondor. A lot of people usually play Arnor, Lindon, and Erebor, okay? And then a lot of times Angmar. Occasionally Lothlorien. Those are like I've seen as the big ones that usually are always played all the time. For some reason, poor Rune, it's in a good spot, you guys. It's in a really good spot. But a lot of times people just don't want to play it. It doesn't really have a super powerful tier 4 unit. And I think that's probably the issue, okay? I think that is probably the issue most of the time. It has some good resources around it, but then usually right next door, the Varangs usually have tons of people in it. So I think that might be another strategic reason why people don't pick that as much. So again, back to, without going into an entire spiel about this, I might make a separate video just about this subject, because I've already gone into this for like a minute and a half. I would recommend good places for you to pick would be like Lindon, maybe Arnor, Angmar, Erebor, kind of all the ones I said, the Varangs, Gondor, even Lothlorien is a little bit less troublesome like for you. Gundabad's fine too, but it can be hit or miss if there's a lot of people in it, and it is in basically a path where people travel. So sometimes you can get kind of overwhelmed by Erebor or Angmar if you don't have a lot of people, and it kind of your resources get run over. So it's really important because you need to have resources, and it's really annoying if you've spent 2 weeks collecting resources, and let's say you're right in the smack middle of the Gap of Rohan, and then 2 giant factions on both sides of you crush you, like the Varangs and Arnor, because they're all trying to get to the ring, and they just run you over, and while they're running you over, they're like, sorry, we're also going to take all your stuff, so go farm somewhere else. And then, you know, poor Rohan has to go find some other locations to farm off in the corners. Okay, that doesn't always happen with Rohan, but I'm not trying to pick on Rohan. I've just had a lot of personal bad experiences, and a lot of my friends in other campaigns, it's the spot to travel. Okay, so it's really hard. You can see Rohan and Isengard are struggling in this particular game. So is a lot of the other middle ones like Gundabad. And I mean, this is like the perfect example, this map, from what I'm saying. This is not always the case. I want to point that out. Okay. I know people in the comments are going to be like, that's not always the case. It's true. It's not always the case, but it is like over 50% of the time. Okay. From my experience of seeing 30 game sessions and pictures. Okay. That's usually what happens. Oh, also, good job to my team. They just took this. Awesome. All right. Anyway, that's good. That's good. So it's really important to think about that. So next, on to the next thing. Now that you've talked about that. So Gondor is a good one to pick. The Varangs, Erebor, again, all the side ones from a risk perspective are a lot better to pick if you're a brand new player and you don't know if you're going to join a group or not, okay? Because usually you're left alone, 1 or 2, unless you have a massive faction like this that just decides to go for everybody else, okay? But that's usually unusual. So, now that you've decided, okay, I'm going to pick Erebor, or I'm going to pick Linden, or I'm going to pick that. Remember, think about what kind of, you know, again, if you're going to be evil or good side. I'm going to pick Angmar, I'm going to pick the Varangs, or Mordor, right? All right, so now, again, it does matter highly what factional side you're going to be playing on, okay? So now we're going to think about commanders and units, all right? So once you've chosen what side you're going to be on, you have to realize there are good commanders and good and evil commanders, okay? Commanders are commanders. There's good and evil side, okay? Depending on which side you're playing, you're going to want to focus on technically those commanders early on. Later, as you play through seasons, you can kind of switch, and there is a way to switch. But let's say, for argument's sake, you're going to play the good side, right? You're going to play, let's just make it really simple, Linden, okay, where I'm at right now. You're going to play Linden. So now that you've done that, what commander should you focus on? Early on in the game, I believe you get Haldir, okay, for free. How are you going to earn commanders and armor for free as you play? Well, you're going to click the little thing in the corner down here, and you're going to go to your free one every day, okay? And you need to make sure that you go to your little wish list up there at the top for a new player and choose your thing. So again, let's say you want to play for elves. Now again, you could be dwarves or you could be human characters, but you go in here and you choose, and each one of these respect items will go towards a certain commander, okay? I, on this account, am focusing more towards elves, and I do have 1 coin for Dane because I already have Dane on this account. So I want to get his respect higher. All right, so this just gives a higher chance for these to drop on your free daily roll. And then you click your little free daily roll, and let's say that there's another one that pops up that says 200 gems. You could use that one too because you usually earn enough gems to do that on a daily basis, most of the time if you're playing a lot. So you'll keep doing that, okay? So that's another thing to be doing then as a free player, trying to do this methodically. Now, what if you're someone who wants to spend a little bit of money on the game? What would I recommend to you? I would recommend always go to your daily discount and get your free daily, because sometimes it drops gems for free. That's there once a day. And then periodic benefits, these two, okay? So this one is $2, $2 US for an entire week. And it gives you 400 gems, and then it gives you another 200 every day you log on, okay? So really worth it. And that will give you your free 200 to do your daily roll. See? Okay, so that's a good one. If you want to go a tiny bit more, you could do the month thing, and this gives you 30 days. You gain 2,300 gems, and you get 1 Matham coin every day for those 30 days, and that's $10 US. Okay, so that's kind of like a subscription. But if you're going to buy stuff, I would recommend doing that. The regular stuff and buying gems is a lot more on the pricey side, okay? It can really add up very quickly, so be careful, okay? But, so as free-to-play, or just a little bit, that's what I recommend. But just make sure you're always coming in here daily. Even if you're not going to play that day, just get on to click free roll, okay? That's a very important thing, because you will get gold letters and items, okay, and purple stuff. You will get it, because I have on this account, and I haven't paid almost anything on this account. You can see right here. I'll show you. I've only played 3 seasons. See, I have a bunch of little gold things in purple. Not as much as my other account, but it's still good. So now, what should you do with commanders? Should you focus on getting multiple commanders leveled up and putting all your pieces of gear across all your commanders, all singled, without doing any strengthening or refining? If you want to know more about that, you can go watch my other guide videos, what strengthening and refining is. I would recommend you trying to build up 2 commanders, okay? And have like 3 or 4 as little backup to take tiles and stuff, all right? So if you're brand new to the game, put your points into upgrading an item or 2 with strengthening and refining if you can. And I have a video on whether you should use purple or gold items, single items, or upgraded purples. I just have a video on that here on the guide playlist as well. I would recommend choosing 2. I recommend choosing the ones you have the highest respect for. What is respect? It basically gives you, once you get respect 3, respect 1 allows you to use the accessory item, which is kind of important. Respect 3 allows you to use the next tree, part of the tree. And respect 5 allows you to go all the way to the end of the tree. And you can see the difference here with Arwen. These are locked because her respect is only respect 2. But she can use her accessory item right there, which is that little pipe. If you look at another character I do not have high respect on, you will see that this guy I technically don't even own yet. I need to get more letters. I can't even use him besides using him for tips. Little side note there, which that's good for too. But try to put all your experience, all your mind sharpening experience or fighting things and stuff into just 2 characters. Choose wisely. Now here's another thing. You could do a balance, or you could focus all on one thing. Do you want to focus on a character that's good at taking tiles and a character that's good at PvP? I have guide videos on that if you need that. But it really depends on, every character can kind of do sort of both to an extent, but you want to focus on 2 commanders, okay? So use your items, upgrade, choose what's good for them, right? Choose what's good for them. For example, Haldir likes might and speed, okay? He's also good at doing some damage himself, but really he's for buffing his troops mainly, but he can also do damage, depending on where you put your points in your little skill tree, okay? So what I did is I focused on items that gave him a little bit of might, speed, focus, damage for his units. Elves, because I'm playing Linden. My first units are going to be elves. And what do you mean by that, Zollin? Why are they my first units? So if you go into your base, you've already been playing, you know this, and you go into your upgrades. If you notice, we can upgrade elves first in Linden, then Rohirrim units, then Gondor units. I'm just going to call them that, even though technically it's Numenorian quarters and Rohirrim. And then Durin's folk. Then you get dwarves. So yes, I'm getting dwarves from my Dane, but I could not. It took me many weeks. It took me 2 or 3 weeks before I could even get to them. So early on, I want to be able to do something. So since my Haldir was my highest respect, I've been focusing on upgrading Haldir, right, and giving him the best of my items on this free-to-play account, okay, that I have. So I work really hard to give him the only ones. He's got 3 upgrades in this and a refine, that kind of thing. So focus on 2 commanders. That's the bottom line, okay? So now that you know that, what about building upgrades, okay? So the first things first is don't go for, when it comes to, let's talk about taking tiles first. When it comes to taking tiles, make sure you go for tiles that are manageable. Right? This is effortless because she's so high level. She's level 41 and this is a 30 power tile, which is technically, I have a whole video on this if you need to watch it. Technically, it's a level 8 commander defending the random tile, right? So, but go for the ones, don't go for ones that have like red, really hard, dangerous or whatever early on. Make sure you're going for things that you can manage, because if you lose too many troops early on, it makes it much harder to build up. So try to use your slots you have. All right, for you only have a certain amount of tiles, and take all the tiles that are right under manageable, right? Don't leave a bunch of one single tiles, these ones that don't have anything on them, because they don't really give much. You can see over time. Get the ones that give a little more per hour with resources, okay? So that is I have a whole nother video that on detail, but that's a good thing to keep in mind, okay? Again, with items, make sure think about what commanders you want to use, and then try to upgrade your items to help just those 1 or 2 commanders. Your other commanders can have your blue items, right? So, but purple items, gold items, you're going to want to try to get on your main 2 commanders. If you don't have any of those, and you only have a single purple item, let's say, go ahead and instead give them a fully upgraded blue item if you can, with all 4 stars, all right? That's kind of the goal you want to do with early on. But really, focus on 2 commanders, and realize as you're playing through this game and through seasons, you'll get more and more stuff, respect, if you have it on your wish list like I showed you, or items as you're playing free-to-play and doing your daily rolls. You want to try to build up on that same commander. There is a way, if you get a new commander, you're like, oh, I'd much rather use that commander and put my respect items towards him. You can do that. You can switch some items and stuff. I have videos on how to do that. Switch your items, switch their ability on the item. But really try to focus ahead as a new player and think, what do I want to play as? Do I want to play elf commanders? Do I want to play dwarf commanders, human commanders, orc commanders, witch king, that kind of thing? And you can get the witch king. He's a tier 3 commander. A lot harder to get if you're playing the evil side early on. But you will get them sooner or later, okay? So those are good things to think about. So to finish up here, what else can we think about? Build orders. Okay, now that we talked about tiles and that and commanders, what about build orders? Your normal upgrades on your base. What should you focus on upgrading? Should you just upgrade everything evenly at the same time? Really what you want to do is you want to upgrade as quick as possible if you're in a big group and you're trying to join a PvP thing. So you're going to want to really aim for upgrading the conscription post and the barracks, but only when you're trying to upgrade your main hall. Okay, so when it says you need one of these upgraded, keep upgrading those, okay? So start upgrading those more. You also, if you join a fellowship, which we'll talk about in just a moment, so hold that thought, that's good to upgrade too. You want to upgrade the market as soon as you can, all right? Because that is the ratio of trading resources. So let's say you have a whole lot of wood tiles, but you don't have a whole lot of iron tiles. It's nice because you can go into the barter place and you can trade, go to barter, and you can trade your, let's say, wood for your iron. You click on that, you click on this, and you pull over. This ratio is not bad. It's 80% right now, right? So I lose this much wood, I gain this much iron. Early on, it's 1 to 5 or 6, and that is rough. You're losing almost half as much of the one resource. So you want to try to upgrade that as soon as you can. The next thing you want to make sure you aim for is if you are going to, say, use evil units on the good side and you're not on a role-playing server, so you can do that. I have a video on that, but role-playing servers allow you to only play with good units on the good side and vice versa. But let's say you want evil units and you're on the good side. You need to upgrade your dark embassy. Same thing, flip for if you're on the evil side, the good embassy. It allows you to get those units. I have a whole video on that. But military academy, this is what you want to upgrade. This allows your commanders to have more units in their ranks, and it makes it easier to take bigger and bigger tiles and hold more units to fight, because units are important in this game to fight. The elite training ground is also good. It allows you to do certain things with upgrading your training areas and stuff. So we'll talk about that later. This is actually for hiring queues too as well. It gives you an extra hiring queue. There's a bunch of good things. But you might be like, well, Zollin, what about my stone and lumber yards? Upgrade these when you can, but you're only going to have 2 slots, okay, for upgrading. If you want the third one, you have to go and buy it. It's $5 US dollars, and it does last an entire month, 30 days. So early on in the game, I do recommend it if you want to spend a little bit of money on the game to get that. It kind of helps you out, so you don't have to be using speed ups or anything. But if you only have 2, focus on making sure you're upgrading the barracks and construction posts when you need to upgrade the main hall to the next one, saving up resources. Make sure you're getting that market up as soon as you can. But again, remember, there's requirements to have certain levels of the place. I'm max level now with my main hall, which is my base, basically. And then upgrade the military academy when you can. Really important as well. And then the fellowship hall is also important to upgrade if you're in a fellowship or a guild, pretty much. Helps you get more resources and stuff and helps upgrade them. And make sure you're upgrading the storage. This would be like in the secondary category. So like the fellowship hall and the apothecary and storage, kind of more towards the secondary. They're really important to have more. If you're noticing your apothecary is getting over full, which means if anyone dies past that, they're just dead. You can't heal them, the wounded. That's not good. you're wasting units. So get your apothecary up a little bit. And then storage, if you're noticing you're getting on a lot and your storage is always maxed out up there at the top, something's maxed, one of these numbers is maxed out all the way filled, then you may need to upgrade your storage a little bit more. Okay, so that's when you should be doing it. And then when you can do these upgrades that will just increase your resources over time. Okay, they're just resource increases. But the order, I would always say battlements and bow towers, which help you if you're being your physical base is being attacked by other players. I would always do those last, because usually you're not going to be being attacked early on the first 2 weeks in the game. Okay, that's going to be if you move your base to the front lines and now they're attacking your base. Okay, because you can move your base in the game. Those are last. So those are the orders, right? We got 1, 2, 3, and 4, the orders. 3 would be all the resource buildings, and 4 would be those defenses. Okay, those 2 defense things. All right, so hopefully that helps you out with the build order as a new player. So those are things to think about as a new player when it comes to all those things. Oh man, I did okay. Again, I'm a free-to-play account, so let's see how good this guy is. He's kind of a free-to-play account too. So I did all right actually in this fight. I did okay. I lost it, but I still did okay. I did 127,000 damage. He did 168,000. Anyway, but so again, those are all the things I would focus on early on thinking about. Think about ahead what commanders you want to use when you start choosing good or evil side. It will matter the first season if you choose good or evil, because they're going to give you a free commander at the beginning. So if you choose good, I think you get Faramir and Haldir. And if you choose evil, I don't remember right now because I never started evil on either of these accounts. But I'm assuming it's probably someone more simple like Uklok or I don't think it's Gorbag. I think it might be Azok. I don't remember. Leave a comment for people who have started on the evil side. What evil commanders do you start with your first season? Because remember, once you've started once, then you just keep joining seasons. But anyway, those are all good things to remember. Don't use all your gems up on... Use your gems up on the 200 roll. The daily 200 roll. After you do the free one, there will be a 200 one after on the same button. Use them on that. That's a good thing to use them for. And don't try to use them all the time on just speeding up construction and making your people move back faster. Just wait. Save the gems. Okay. You also earn a lot of gems now through this adventure book thing, which is kind of cool. So you can go in here and click it, and things you do over time, they'll give you gems. So that's another good way. And I have a video on other ways you can earn gems as well. So I think that's about it I wanted to cover in this video. I didn't want to make it too long for you guys. Again, if you did enjoy, I would appreciate a like and subscribe. It'd be awesome. It's free. Support your favorite dwarf, Zollin Ironshield. And thank you all for being here today. I'll see you all in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. Thank you to my Patreons. Subscribe button's there right on top of Arthedain. And over there is the next episode for this. And over there is a LOTR where I do voiceovers in the Lord of the Rings online MMO. Have a good one, my friends. Thanks for listening, and I will maybe make another video of this. If you have questions, please leave them, and I might make another video out of one of your questions if it's something good. All right. Never a dumb question. Almost ever. Have a good one, guys. See ya.